Hello and thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Kimani. Coming up, Legal Affairs Minister says Dominica is ready to embrace the CCJ. Dominica welcomes new Australian High Commissioner and Mexican Ambassador. And the Bureau of Gender Affairs wants all to blow the horn against gender-based violence on February 22nd. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after this.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
Thanks for staying with us. The new Australian High Commissioner accredited to Dominica, His Excellency Ross Williams Taiso, on Wednesday presented his letter of credence to Dominica's head of state, His Excellency Charles Savre. His Excellency Ross Williams Taiso replaces Ambassador Philip Charles Cantwell. At the ceremony held at the President's office, His Excellency Savre voiced Dominica's intentions to take advantage of numerous opportunities for developing cooperation with Australia on bilateral and multilateral levels. The Memorandum of Understanding between Australia and Dominica, signed in 2009, provides the basis for deepening and strengthening the relationship between the two countries through exchange of ideas on mutual interests such as climate change and disaster risk management. President Savre expressed appreciation for Australia's significant contributions made in areas of technical assistance and human resource development.
The government and people of Dominica appreciate the significant contribution which your country has made and continues to make, particularly in the areas of technical assistance to our judicial services through the Australian Legal Resource International. We also appreciate your support and assistance through the Direct Aid Program and the Australian Volunteer Program, and to Dominica's Human Resource Development through the offer of Commonwealth scholarships to pursue graduate studies at universities in Australia. To date, 7 Dominican nationals have already been awarded scholarships by the Australian government under the Australia Awards program. Please convey our thanks to the government and people of Australia for the support throughout the years.
His Excellency Savre communicated his satisfaction with the Australian High Commission in realizing the need for CARICOM member states to benefit from the Direct Aid Program. President Savre hopes for a continuation of this close collaboration.
I am very heartened by the fact that the Australian High Commission has realized the need for CARICOM member states to benefit in a more tangible way from the Direct Aid Program, which seeks to alleviate poverty and encourage sustainable development in developing countries. Consequently, Ms. Gwendolyn Roberts, Police Research Officer at the Australian High Commission, visited Dominica in 2013 to engage in awareness meetings and site visits. Your Excellency, we look forward to important developments in that area.
High Commissioner Taiso, in his remarks, reaffirmed the Australian government's commitment in the development of small member states.
I would like to use this opportunity to reaffirm Australia's commitment to working with small island developing states. Our long-standing engagement and relations with small states in the Caribbean is reflected particularly in the articulation of our direct aid program in this region. This overarching policy of engagement and ongoing commitment to advocating the interests of those small island states most vulnerable to the effects of climate change is reflected in the presence of Australian volunteers in Dominica, working in the disaster management, humanitarian services at the Red Cross, health, business, development, youth and education.
His Excellency Taiso referenced some of the areas where Dominica has benefited from its relationship with Australia. The High Commissioner highlighted the Australian government's second tranche of contributions to the Dominica Cancer Society.
Australia has invested in a series of projects in Dominica. In the latest cycle, we supported projects such as the repair to the Tunabuku Reference Library, the Bataka Water Supply Project, and fencing and renovation of the Charlotte's Nursery School. And yesterday I visited a potential project at Castle Bruce, where we're assisting some local farmers in their efforts there. And also in this current cycle, we will be awarding funds to the Dominica Cancer Society, and that will be the second tranche of funds that we've given to them. The current will be for a cervical cancer screening project across the region, raising awareness as well as assisting in screening initiatives. And previously we had donated to the Cancer Society to enable the conversion of their office here for wheelchair accessibility and to provide services for the family of cancer sufferers.
In addition to these ongoing contributions, the Australian government is currently assisting applications in support of ongoing efforts by Dominica in the aftermath of the adverse weather conditions in December 2013. His Excellency Taiso, in his closing remarks, expressed confidence that the friendly relations between Dominica and Australia will prosper in coming years. Meantime, also on Wednesday, the new United Mexican States Ambassador accredited to Dominica, His Excellency Luis Manuel Moreno, presented his letter of credence to President Charles Savre. President Savre noted the Mexican government's commitment to maintain and strengthen the bonds of friendship which exist between the two countries. His Excellency Savre extended his appreciation to Mexico for the numerous initiatives that have benefited Dominica, specifically the provision of scholarship opportunities for Dominican nationals to various Mexican universities.
Dominica has over the years benefited greatly through this friendship, particularly in the granting of scholarships to pursue studies at selected Mexican universities and the many short courses offered under the CARICOM-Mexico Technical Cooperation Agreement. We also look forward to benefiting from the Infrastructural Fund for the Mesoamerican countries and the Caribbean in a tangible way. I take this opportunity to ask Your Excellency to convey to your government the appreciation and gratitude of the government and people of Dominica for the decision taken to make available the sum of 500,000 United States dollars to the government of Dominica in support of our rehabilitation efforts following the devastation caused by adverse weather conditions on the 24th of December 2013. And also for the support given to the candidature of Dr. Carissa Etienne, a national of Dominica, to the position of Director General of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO.
President Savre stated that Dominica will make every effort to explore avenues of increased cooperation provided by the Mexican government under the CARICOM Cooperation Program. President Savre expressed confidence in Dominica's ability to create and broaden cultural activities between the two countries, as well as provide a rewarding experience for the new ambassador. Ambassador His Excellency Luis Moreno, in his remarks, expressed his gratification in receiving what he considers a fortunate opportunity to live and work in Dominica. His Excellency Moreno conveyed compliments of Mexican President Enrique Pena Nieto and wishes of fortune and prosperity for the Commonwealth of Dominica.
With this esteemed privilege, allow me to convey to you the compliments of President Enrique Peña Nieto and his profound message of personal fortune, prosperity, and well-being to the people of Commonwealth of Dominica, and ratifies the message of solidarity and support that the Minister José Antonio Meade, Minister of External Affairs, expressed to the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt during his visit on the past month.
In other news, Minister for Legal Affairs Honorable Ian Douglas has declared that Dominica is more than ready to have the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, as its final appellate court. Prime Minister of Dominica Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt announced in January that Dominica has received no objection from the government of the United Kingdom to move away from the British Privy Council and recognize the CCJ as its final appellate court. Minister Douglas's statement comes as the main opposition United Workers' Party has openly voiced non-support for the CCJ. Thompson Fontaine, a UWP election candidate, stated recently, and I quote, "As a party, we don't believe that Dominica is ready for this move," end of quote. But Minister Douglas has disagreed and has characterized Dr. Fontaine's statement as appalling.
It is appalling, but like I said, it shows political immaturity, it shows lack of depth on their part, it shows that they're out of touch with Caribbean reality, because today, being government of one of the CARICOM member states is not only about leading Dominica, it's leading the Caribbean and our development process, and it shows that the forward-thinking, visionary approach of the leader and the Prime Minister and the government at this time. We believe in Dominica that we possess what it takes to lead the rest of the region. And we see that in the case of the Caribbean Court of Justice. I mean, we went to Parliament since 2006 and we passed the act in both jurisdictions to establish the Caribbean Court of Justice. However, there were some technicalities that didn't allow some constitutional requirements that we had to meet. One of them is writing to the British government, to the UK government, requesting the move from the Privy Council to the Caribbean Court of Justice. That hadn't taken place yet. So we had to hold back the court in its appellate jurisdiction, but the court has been operating in its original jurisdiction for about 5 or 6 years now in Dominica, and I'm astonished, I'm appalled.
The Legal Affairs Minister views the CCJ as the final step towards total independence and is confident in the ability of Caribbean jurists to deliver sound judgments.
These are men of distinction who have distinguished themselves not only in the legal profession, but have distinguished themselves intellectually, not only in the Caribbean, but around the world. And I have utmost confidence in the judges. I mean, if you look at the decisions that have come from the Court of Justice, they can stand the test of time and stand any legal scrutiny anywhere around the world. So I really don't see that as being an issue. And Dominica, it's good to see Dominica being a leader in the nation. We have taken the first step, and countries have to follow Dominica's lead, and that is refreshing. Coming from Dominica, I might say being a Dominican, not only because I'm associated with the government, but to see Dominica taking a leadership role in the sub-region on an important issue such as the Caribbean Court of Justice. To me, all of Dominica and all Dominicans, wherever they are, should feel proud that we can again take our rightful place in regional politics and in regional governance and lead the rest of the region.
The Legal Affairs Minister has further described the UWP's position as politically inept and said the opposition was unprepared to move Dominica forward. Minister Douglas believes that Dominica's move to have the CCJ as its final appellate court is one of maturity, forward-thinking, and is realistic. The Bureau of Gender Affairs and its numerous partners have organized what is being called a blow-the-horn motorcade for this weekend. According to the organizers, this event is designed to draw attention to the issue of domestic violence and abuse. Speaking to GIS News on Thursday, Rosie Brown, Director of the Bureau of Gender Affairs, explained the thinking behind the massive event.
The idea of the Blow the Horn is one of a number of activities really that was planned as part of the 16 days of activism against gender violence that normally we observe on a yearly basis during November, between November 25th to December 10th. For the past few years, we have been having activities to hype our public awareness, to advocate and to stand strongly against situations of violence, to let those who are in the business of inflicting violence know that, I mean, it is unacceptable, and really it because of all of the damage that is done in those situations, that there should be a zero tolerance to any form of violence, and particularly the violence against children.
Rosie Brown explained exactly what is planned for this Saturday, February 22nd.
On that day, we will be congregating, or we will assemble on the Demudinier Charles Boulevard. First, we will have a little prayer, hopefully. We have already planned have a little program where people will assemble. We will have a prayer. We have Father Coffee has agreed, Franklin Coffee, to do the invocation, and that we will then process. We will travel using on the various vehicles that will be there through to the West Coast, onto Portsmouth, and then into the on the northeast area, and end up on the Savannah on the field in Castlebros, where we will have a sort of a mini rally.
According to the program, the Minister for Social Services and Gender Affairs, along with the constituency representatives, will say their piece regarding violence and domestic abuse. The agenda also includes solidarity messages and performances from persons wishing to make their voices heard on the issue. The director says the motorcade is taking place at this time for more than one reason. One is that during the festive carnival season, persons tend to become less tolerant of others, resulting in violent incidents. Brown says another reason is that at this period on the island, the number of violent incidents generally is becoming alarming.
And we heard of different things that are happening, and our reports too, according to some of the reports that we are gathering through the data registry, indicates that violence against children is also a serious concern. And so we thought that during this period of time, there's also the tendency for persons to, get at each other. Sometimes you take a little drink, you enjoying yourself, but you get, tipsy. And then there is the tendency to be less tolerant. Even outside of that, our society tend to be, we get in the field that so to be less tolerant, or people are getting less tolerant of each other. And people tend to will quickly get at you, or, and so outside of that, it is so.
The director says Saturday's event will broadcast one message.
Hopefully that we will be reaching those who are inflicting violence, as well as those persons who are helpless and may need to know that they are thought of, that there are people who are standing with them, who are standing in solidarity with them, but who wish to say to them that, look, you need to come out. You need not to remain in this situation of violence, but you need to report, you need to come out and seek help.
The Ministry of Health, in its effort to ensure improved standards of healthcare delivery at the island's main medical facility, has procured equipment and supplies totaling over $2 million. More details in today's in-depth report.
With the increased incidence of life-threatening ailments, the Roosevelt Skerritt administration has joined other nations across the globe in embracing the use of technology in the diagnosis and treatment of these illnesses. The procurement of over $2.6 million worth of equipment and supplies by the government is expected to assist health practitioners in the early detection of these illnesses.
The earlier the detection, the more successful we will be in managing the incidence of some of the chronic diseases.
Digital mammogram services began on February 11 on the ground floor of the refurbished former acute psychiatric building. With increasing number of cases of breast cancer, the new machine is expected to aid in the early detection of that disease.
This government is concerned about the incidence in the number of cases of breast cancer among our women, and we're determined to arrest the situation through early screening and diagnosis.
The mammogram allows the doctor to have a look at changes in breast tissue that may be missed during a normal breast examination.
We take the pictures, the radiologist view it, and she writes a report and give to the patient. we ask the patient to come back within 3 days for it.
At the outpatient unit at the island's main medical facility, gastroscopy and colonoscopy services began on February 4th.
We do gastroscopies only on Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. We do colonoscopy on Fridays.
Gastroscopy helps doctors to diagnose any problems their patients are experiencing within the upper digestive system, including recurring heartburn, a pain in upper abdomen, indigestion, or difficulty swallowing.
The gastroscopy is basically you viewing of your stomach, from your esophagus to your duodenum, which is the lower part of your stomach.
During the colonoscopy procedure, a thin, flexible tube with a light and tiny video camera attached to the end transmits images to a monitor which allows the doctor to see inside of the colon. Patients who have suffered severe bone fractures can now be operated on at the Princess Margaret Hospital. State-of-the-art orthopedic supplies needed for operating on severe bone fractures were recently procured and is already in use at the medical facility.
For example, this one is when you have a fracture of the femur or a hip fracture, like very common, this one is going to slide here, this one goes so. Okay, this one goes so. This one goes through here and lock here, and another screw lock here. Okay, and that is the fracture is stable and the patient can walk next day. This is a Mercedes-Benz for orthopedics. Okay. With this we can do a hip replacement. Sometimes you need, when the hip is destroyed or the joint is destroyed, you cut here and you drill here and you put this one here. And this is the acetabulum, okay?
Despite the new advanced equipment, Dr. Julian cautions road users.
No matter how the state of the art you have, sometimes the injuries are serious and there is pain suffering for the patients. Try to drive carefully.
Dr. Curson George, a Cuban-trained orthopedic surgeon, is back home from studies and is impressed with the recently procured equipment now available at the PMH.
The equipment is state-of-the-art, up-to-date equipment, latest technology. Something that we're going to need, something that will be put to good use.
A computerized topography CT scan has also been procured by government and will replace the existing one at the hospital.
The new CT scan is going to be much more superior than the existing one.
The CT scan uses X-rays and a computer to create detailed images of the inside of the body. The procurement of state-of-the-art equipment by the current administration is expected to improve the health services at the island's main medical facility.
A lot of the difficult procedures which we had to send people to Martinique and Barbados for, from now on we expect to do a lot of those things here.
For National Focus, I am Mervyn Murphy reporting.
And that's the English segment of National Focus. McPherson St. Luce brings us Squirrel Highlights next.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, le département Gender Dominica a collaboré et puis diverses organisations tiennent une campagne samedi, Blow the Horn Campaign, pour lever attention au monde qui concerne violence en toute manifestation. Rosie Brown, c'est chef département Gender Dominica.
Il y a toutes sortes de qualités de violence qui sont faites avec nous pour dire dans bel pays nous Dominique nous pas voulons ça parce qu'il a affecté tellement monde à tellement section en place là et il a affecté les enfants, il a affecté femmes et jeunes hommes aussi et nous savons avec tout ça nous aussi savons pas qu'il est c'est plus enfants et femmes et non femmes qui affecté avec perpetrator mais men especially non so nous qu'a dit tout monde Dominique pour venir ensemble samedi à 8h30 à le Demi Junior Child Boulevard. Nous avons commencé là, nous avons commencé à prier, nous avons pour mettre tout le bitan dans la main de Jésus, so nous avons commencé à faire prier, nous avons fait aller au bord de transport, et nous avons descendu en West Coast, nous avons passé West Coast et nous avons allé Portsmouth. Portsmouth, nous avons allé dans par North là, et nous avons end up Cassibus.
À la nouvelle, compagnie de Wasco a poussé devant et puis projet de l'eau en Benz. Parole celle-là, sorti votre officier relations publiques compagnie là, Edward Regis.
Nous aussi, nous avons un grand projet en Benz. Ça même, c'est un grand projet même. Ça, c'est pour tuer l'eau, bah, mon en Benz, en soldat, en se dit, nous avons dépensé plus que 3,5 millions de dollars pour ça. Avec Damasco même, nous avons toujours tapé ce monde qui a dit nous, même bagaille la conseil Jean Gonfort. Il n'y a pas de glow à caler bien souvent, avec qualité glow, ça va être bon. Comme ça, nous-mêmes tenons pour acheter en place neuf, en location neuf, pour nous ça faire un intake neuf pour tuer glow à ce monde en Benz. Avec Grand Rivière, nous connaissons Grand Rivière Hampstead River, Rivière Hampstead, nous tenons pour aller bien fond en dit dans forêt pour nous ça trouver une location qui était bon pour nous ça pour tuer global c'est mon en Benz. Avec nous pour jamber Rivière 10 fois. Comme ça nous pour bâtir 10 différents ponts avec culvert. Comme ça a coûté un pile d'argent pour faire chemin en forêt pour aller. Avec ça c'est un grand projet même. Pour à présent nous avons bâti 5 ponts avec nous avons pensé qu'à finir mois prochain mois mars nous avons fini bâtir ces 5 les autres ponts pour nous avons fini bâtir intake là. Là nous fini ça nous avons lié ces pipes là nous avons fait dam là nous avons fait un peu différents bagages techniques pour faire santé que nous avons pour tuer global c'est en Benz en soldat et en stimi grand projet même dans ce qu'on a fait avec nous avons remercié le gouvernement Dominique qui pour tuer l'argent pour faire projet ça.
En d'autres nouvelles, département Vector Control Dominica travaille en collaboration et puis officier ministre de la Santé pour administration différents aspects contrôler migraine qui a occasionné mauvaise maladie simée. Parole celle-là sorti notre chef département là Oliver St. John. St. John fait parole qui a déjà commencé à spray différents environs tout le monde en pays là. Et aussi fait parole qui residual spraying qui commence tout de suite. Ça c'est pour spray en zida case moun et puis chemical pour détruire ces migraines là. En même temps aussi chef officier environ Anthony Scotland qui a créé à ces populations là pour aider le département là contrôler mauvais maladies là qui c'est bête ça là qu'a chaillé. Et puis finalement cérémonie graduation capacité building programme pour moi mon John live week pour place mercredi. Jean Wansala tapé trainement en divers aspects. Participants ordinateurs Shirley Prescott ba un overview c'est un programme ça là.
Nous tenons 34 moun qui receive certificate basic computer, advanced computer, life skills and team building, business management, sewing, hospitality. And 34 moun ça là 23 femmes tapé certificat avec 13 hommes tapé certificat là. Yo travail wed, moi les congratulate yo pour travail bien fait. BNTF, moi les dis merci pour assistance là avec Caribbean Development Bank. Mon live week, mon John, nous appreciate travail là.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, a tip on how to make your microwave food safe to eat.
Together we build, together we strive. We see it all. on your Government Information Service, Channel 7. This is the Government Information Service, bringing you all that you need to know about all that's happening in your country's development. GIS, you and your channel.
Here's a tip to ensure that your microwave food is safe to eat. Only use cookware that is specially manufactured for use in the microwave oven. Glass, ceramic containers, and all plastics should be labeled for microwave oven use. Plastic storage containers such as margarine tubs, takeout containers, and other one-time use containers should not be used in microwave ovens. These containers can warp or melt, possibly causing harmful chemicals to migrate into your food. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Kimani. Thank you so much for watching.